Save a life, or perhaps helped keep a watchful eye on a neighborhood. Today, you probably helped put food on someone's table, or help build a road that leads to a destiny. You may have even helped shape the minds of our future. By paying your taxes, you help keep critical medical staff in a job, a school to run, or a neighborhood safe, and a whole lot more. Your taxes help Zambia become better for you and me. Zambia Revenue Authority. My tax, your tax, our destiny.
The law requires every person carrying a business or intending to trade to register for Tpin. My name is Alice Lungu. Welcome to Tax Chat. With me in studio is Madam Anastasia Chikaka from ZRA, a senior tax consultant. Madam Anastasia, good morning and good to have you on Tax Chat.
Good morning, Alice. Good morning, viewers. Thank you for having me.
Yes. To begin with, we all know that the first step is to register with PACRA. Once registered, you can come to ZRA for registration and tax type. What is a Tpin?
Okay, so a Tpin, in full, the letters stand for Taxpayer Identification Number. So that is commonly known as a Tpin. Okay, so this is a 10-digit computer-generated number that is issued to every taxpayer that comes to register with ZRA or that intends to transact with Zambia Revenue Authority. Yeah, so this number is issued just for identification purposes. If you want to do any transactions with ZRA, you have to be issued with this taxpayer identification number. And then also, it's not just ZRA that requires, of course we issue out that Tpin, but then it has been extended to other services or institutions, such as the bank. If you want to open a bank account, you will need to present your taxpayer identification number. And then with ZESCO, if you want to, the certain services, when you go to ZESCO, they will ask you for a Tpin. So viewers out there should know that, and most of them anyway, by now know that it is law that they present the taxpayer identification number whenever it is requested for by ZESCO, the bank, and any other institution that may require a Tpin from a customer. Yeah.
Okay. Madam Anastasia, ngaba many banga chite register na Tpin ni bantu babanje.
Okay. So in number bame banga chite register mukabwela ku ZRA nishimuzi wakuti in number yamena bwela kuchita register. It's either nachoka ku banki banoza kuti for you to open an account mfuniko nkala na hii number. Okay. And then angwa maybe angashite register for this number. No ajua kuti maybe ukagulisa motoka locally. Okay, mwamene muno mu country. Ukagulisa motoka and then ufuna chinja ownership. Kapena white book for example ili muzina yaba Alice. Then wa Alice banigulisa ine ija motoka. Nzafunika kuti nitenge Tpin for me to change ownership. Okay. And then also gati nagulisa say property, maybe nagulisa nyumba or nagulisa a building, maybe nilikuwa na shares mu business or mu company iliyonse. Nizafunika Tpin kuti nichite property transfer tax. I will require to have a Tpin for me to do that. And then also, if I want to venture into business, got to know that nifunako kushitako business so that nipangeko extra income, nizafunika kuti nishite register ja Tpin. Then additionally, nizafunika kuchita add nama tax types depending on the business venture, the business activity, nifuna kuchita venture in, or business nifuna kuyamba. So there are instances in which somebody should register for a Tpin.
Okay. Makamba properly ngati Tpin wamene manga chite register. For example, yamene pasa po inia ngati ufuna ugulisa motoka within the country, which is locally. Ngati maybe kudi bantu wamene swashita understand kiti washite understand. Maybe, for example, ngat eve afuna kuigulisa not locally but out of the country.
Okay, ngati afuna kuchita import motoka or any other good. Azafunika kuti wankale na Tpin. Yes. So that's also in another instance where somebody will require a Tpin when you're making importations and also when you're exporting, when you're making remittances outside the country, you need a Tpin. Funika unkala na ija number for you to be identified to say it's you that is actually making that transaction.
Okay, very well understood. What are the requirements to register a Tpin?
Okay, so depending on who is registering or what entity is registering, the requirements differ. Okay, so for an individual, say you Alice, you want to register for a Tpin. You are a resident, of course. You are in Zambia, right? So you have a national registration card. Yeah. So to register for a Tpin as an individual, you need to present your NRC, okay? And also a copy of a sketch map. So it's not really mandatory. The NRC is mandatory. So you have to present a copy of your NRC. And then if you're a non-resident, you don't reside in Zambia. Maybe you're just here or even outside the country, but you need to do certain transactions like at the bank, or you need to maybe transfer money, or you just need a Tpin for certain transactions, and you're a non-resident. You have to produce a copy of your passport. But we've got those, we can call them non-residents, but when they come here, they're given that green registration, the alien NRC. Those ones you are considered as Zambian, so you need to register as a Zambian. But if you do not have such a card or such an identity card, you just have a passport, you are a non-resident, you still qualify to register for a Tpin, and you need to attach that a copy of your passport. Okay. And then for a partnership business, you have to attach, of course, you've legalized your business at PACRA, you've registered, you have a business name. So when you are registering for a partnership, you have to attach the certificate of registration, the PACRA Form 3, and also you need to fill in, there's a form that you fill in when you come to ZRA to register as a partnership. So it's just in certain instances where you do such a registration, like filling in a manual form. Otherwise, most of our services are electronic. Okay. And then for a limited company, so you see a partnership and a limited company, I'm sure viewers out there know the difference. But for those that do not know the difference, a limited company is not a partnership. Partnership, you are individuals who are coming together to two or more. You are coming together, each one with their resources. Then you venture into a business. You're coming together to form a business. And then a limited company, you have two directors. So for partnership, it's the partners that pay the tax, okay? Depending on after you do your profit ratio sharing at the end of the year, then each partner will pay their own taxes, depending on by applying the annual pay-as-you-earn tax funds. Okay, but for the limited company, you've got maybe 2 directors, 3 directors. It is that company that whatever is realized in the company, tax will be paid. It's the company will have its own Tpin. Okay, that limited company. So now to register partnership, I mentioned the requirements. But for a limited company, when you're registering with ZRA, you need to attach the certificate of incorporation, the certificate of share capital, and also the PACRA Form 3. So those are the requirements that you need to have when you're registering with ZRA. And then for other entities or other bodies or businesses, or like churches, clubs. Of course, the church is not a business, but if a church will venture into business, obviously there are certain taxes that they'll have to register, or the applicable taxes. Yeah, so if you're a church, you're a club, an association, a non-governmental organization, when you're registering with ZRA for taxes or Tpin and taxes, you have, or even before you add the tax type, you want to have a Tpin. You want to be identified to say you're a church, you're a missionary, you're a club, you're an association. You have to attach the certificate of registration either from PACRA, because there are those organizations that are registered, they have a certificate of, they're registered as a company by guarantee, limited company by guarantee. Yeah, so such will register at PACRA. And then we have those that will register also at registrar of societies. So if you've got certificates from both organizations or institutions, when you come to register for a Tpin at ZRA, you have to attach or to present those documents. The certificate of registration from societies, registrar of societies, or from PACRA, and also the Form 2, and also the bylaws or the constitution. Those have to be presented at Zambia Revenue Authority. Same applies to a cooperative. Yeah, you need to attach the certificate of registration and the bylaws, and then you have to have all the names of the members of that cooperative. Yeah, so those are the requirements, those are the attachments or the documents that you need to present to ZRA, depending on what you're registering for or who is registering the Tpin. Documents should be presented to Zambia Revenue Authority. Yeah.
Aiming attorney to be registered for taxes.
Okay, so to be registered for taxes, what it means is that when you want to venture into business, okay, as an individual or as a limited company, you have to apply for a tax type, because you see, whenever you venture into a business, it means you start earning income, and so taxes must be paid. So what it means to register for taxes is that you simply make an application on the ZRA portal, and then you'll be added to the register for taxpayers. Okay, so you become part of the register when you register for taxes. And then once you register, you do not sit back to say, okay, because I'm expected to declare tax or to declare income whenever I've got income and pay the taxes. Even when you do not have any income, you still have to declare to ZRA, say, I made zero income, and so I'm declaring zero tax. Okay, so it does not just end at you registering for those taxes. You have to be compliant. You need to meet your obligations once you register for those taxes. So what it means to register for taxes is once you make an application and it is approved, depending on the business activity that you are going to venture into, then you have been registered for those taxes and you need to meet your obligations as a taxpayer. Yeah. And
the Tpin registration is mandatory.
Yes,
requires that all taxpayers need to.
So compliance starts the moment you register for a Tpin, because whether you have a tax type registered to your Tpin or not, you still have to pay taxes, especially when you're making an importation. Yeah, you have to pay those import taxes.
Okay. And who needs to be registered with ZRA?
Okay, so who needs to be registered with ZRA? All businesses that are earning income have to be registered for ZRA. Okay. If you are, like I said, if you are transferring property, you need to be registered for ZRA. Yeah. If you are going to do a change of ownership, you have to be registered with ZRA. If you are going to make an importation, you need to be registered for ZRA. Because in all these registrations, that you need a Tpin for. One point or the other, you will have to pay tax and you will have to be compliant. So you need to be registered for ZRA if you're going to change ownership of a motor vehicle, if you're going to make exports, or you're going to remit services or goods outside the country. You have to be registered for a Tpin, or you have to be registered with ZRA. Yeah. Change of ownership, you have to do property transfer transaction, and then also if you have to import, if you have to if you want to import or export, you have to be registered with Zambia Revenue Authority. If you're going to venture into business, the moment you register at PACRA, you're expected to register with ZRA for tax, for a Tpin or for taxes within 30 days after registration with PACRA, or within 30 days that you register with ZRA, or you start, the moment that you start business, you have to be registered for the relevant taxes at ZRA. You may wish to know, Alice, and the viewers out there, that the moment registration of a business starts with PACRA, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So the moment you register with PACRA, a Tpin is going to be issued, because there's that interface between ZRA and PACRA. So a Tpin is going to be issued the moment you register with PACRA. But for the tax types, you have to do it on your own. So you need to ensure that you know that you'll be venturing into business, and it is law. Okay, the law requires you to register for these taxes the moment you venture into business, because you have to pay your fair share of tax.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as you earn income, you have to pay the applicable taxes.
Yes, earlier you had mentioned that the question was who should register. You answered to say all business owners should actually register with ZRA. No kumangala bantu benangu wamachita respond kugamba ati ine ka business kanga nikangono, so ni type ya business ya bwanji inenewe ninga ka shop nikangono, or maybe nina kantemba, or nishita chibeka business kangono, so sini ngashite register. I don't know, what do you say about that? What type of business should one register?
So Alice, it does not matter the size, the type of business. That every business has got, there's an applicable tax that you need to pay. Okay, so in the 2025 budget changes, the threshold for turnover tax, which small businesses can register on, the threshold has been increased from 800,000 to 5 million annually. Okay, so if your threshold in a particular year, or the annual threshold, is up to 5 million kwacha, you qualify to be on turnover tax. That is for small businesses. Okay, and they don't need to keep so many books of records. Mufunika chabenga timulina business kangono se mulina shop. Even check a shop kakutubepi kalipa nyumba. You've seen those shops of nyumba, maybe cash protrude more offense. That my businesses even got me in a shop, town or market, and it's below 5 million, you register for turnover tax. Yes.
All right.
And then for those whose income is above 5 million, those are big companies that make huge sums of money. Those qualify to be on other taxes, like the corporate income tax, and then if you're dealing in buttable goods, the register for VAT, and then if one has got employees, you qualify to be on pay as you earn. You need to operate the pay as you earn system, where you deduct tax from the employees' emoluments, and then you remit that tax to ZRA. Yeah. So it's dependent on the type of business and then there's a tax for every type of business. Yeah. So like I said, for turnover tax, our businesses you are not left out, and it doesn't mean that maybe buzali pila tax kulingana na joina ma businesses ya cool. Na yemwe mukwanisa kulipila turnover tax, because like this year it has changed. The rate has been slightly increased from 4% to 5%, which is still something that is that a small business can manage to pay, because you see, we need to develop this country. So everybody, any person that is in receipt of income, has to pay tax, their fair share of tax. Yeah.
Well understood. Madam Anastasia, what type of taxes should one be registered for?
Okay, so the type of taxes that one should be registered for, like I mentioned, turnover tax, yeah. And then if you're dealing in battery goods and services, you qualify to be registered for VAT. Yeah, and then if you've got employees, whether you're an individual, you're a limited company, it's a church, you need to be, it's a partnership business, you have to be registered for pay as you earn. And then also if you are into the hospitality industry, you have to be registered on other tax types, income tax, pay as you earn, turnover tax, depending on your threshold. But also for this the hospitality industry, you need to be specifically mandatory that you register for tourism levy.
Okay.
So those are some of the taxes that one can be registered on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So one in the hospitality, they have a different type of tax that they need to pay.
Yeah, tourism levy. So we collect tourism levy. It's I may not go into details because that will be a topic for another day. If we have to discuss tourism levy, how you tax it, who pays tourism levy, and But then at the place where you've gone as a guest to enjoy a certain service, that tourism levy is paid at 1.5% of it's included in the bill. So you as a guest, you're the one who pays that tourism levy. Okay. So there's tourism levy, there's insurance premium levy for those that are into the insurance businesses. Yeah, and then there's also property transfer tax if you want to transfer property. Then there's also the rental income. Yeah. If you're letting out property or you're earning income as a result of letting out property, you've got buildings on rent, it's commercial property, or individuals renting your houses, the fully furnished apartments. Yeah, you're earning income from such business or as a result of letting out property. You're earning rental income, and so rental tax has to be paid.
Tired of long queues and endless paperwork? We are too. Pay your taxes using e-payment. Zambia Revenue Authority, working to serve you efficiently.
When should one be registered for taxes?
The moment you register at PACRA. Okay? You register at PACRA, you want to start a business, because that's where the business registration starts from. You go to PACRA, register your business, even when you are not registered at PACRA, okay, but you are venturing into business, you have to add a tax type to your Tpin, because you need to be paying tax. But only when you legalize your business, you go to PACRA, you tell PACRA, okay, I want to do a venture into business, and so I want to legalize it by registering first here. Then when you come to ZRA, you have to register also. Okay, you need to register, and then once you register, because when you register at PACRA, a Tpin is generated. Once a Tpin is generated, you've become you're identified as a taxpayer. Okay, identified as a taxpayer. So you come to ZRA, register for the relevant taxes, and then start paying your tax, because you're in business, you ventured into that business, you'll be in receipt of income, and so mufunika kutija tax muzilipira. Mukasha register ku PACRA, mwabwela ku ZRA, mwasha register ma taxes yanu, depending na business ya mwe muchita, mufunika kuti muzilipira the tax. Yeah.
Where and how should one register for taxes?
ZRA is a customer-centric organization. Yeah, we listen to our customers whenever they see that certain processes. I'll talk about the manual registration that used to be there.
Yeah.
But now things have been simplified. Okay, things have been simplified. We move with the time. We innovate. We invest so much in technology, so that we just make compliance and also just tax registration and the journey of compliance with our taxpayers very easy. Okay, so registration has been simplified, very much simplified. all our services are electronic. So there's e-registration, register electronically. Done away with the manual registration where you come with papers and all that, because you see, manual processes take too long. Yeah. So how you register is that the moment when you register at PACRA, okay, and then you want to register for taxes, you do it electronically. Do it electronically on the ZRA portal on Tax Online. So you log into your account, and then I'll give an example of pay as you earn. Okay? If you have employees, ventured into a business and you've got workers and you want to register for pay as you earn, and then you log in, you go on when you're logged in, the menu on your left side of the screen, you see where it says
that is when you say you log in, maybe those that do not understand.
Oh, okay.
Is it using a phone or maybe a phone?
You can use your phone, you can use a laptop, you can use a desktop. Yes. So you simply need your Tpin, and then you have your password. Because when the Tpin is issued, you receive a message together with the Tpin and the password. Okay. So what you need to do is when you go on the ZRA web portal, so you access the portal through the website. The website address is www.zra.org.zm. You see where it says tax portal. So when you click on the tax portal, it will take you to a page where you need to enter your Tpin and your password. Then once you are logged in, you pick registration. So I'll give an example of pay as you earn, how you can register for your PZN, or how you can know that I'm on the right track to registering for pay as you earn. When you log in, you pick registration. Under registration, there's a tab that says tax type registration. So you click on tax type registration. Then it will take you to the next page. So for pay as you earn, you look out for a question that says, do you have any employees? So the moment you say yes, you have triggered pay as you earn registration. Yeah. There'll be other questions that you follow where you enter the number of employees that you have, how often or how frequent are you going to pay them in terms of the salary. Is it weekly? Is it monthly? So you pick whichever is applicable. Yeah, and then you also put the minimum amount in terms of salary, how much the minimum is and also how much the maximum is. Then you're good to go to register for pay as you earn. And then if it's VAT, there's another question that says, are you are you dealing in VATable goods and services? When you say yes to that, you have triggered VAT registration. So the moment you finish answering those questions, at the end of it all, you will see when you submit, another page will pop up where it will give you those tax types registrations that have been triggered. In this case, you see there'll be VAT, register for VAT, you'll be register for pay as you earn, and you just click on that and you're done. You just wait for approval. Once that is done, you receive a notification that those taxes, you have been added to the register. Yeah, and you'll be able to see those taxes on your profile. Yeah,
which is even better. Anyone can do it and then in the comfort of their home.
Yes, things have been made very easy. Alice, they say there's that common say where you say "Chalo bali wami." Yes, that's exactly what
I can see.
Yes.
Okay, why should I pay my taxes?
Where should you pay your taxes?
Why should I pay?
Why should you pay your taxes?
Yes.
I'm an employee of Zambia Revenue Authority. I need to get a salary. We've got our men in uniform, okay? The soldiers, the policemen, we've got our teachers, our nurses, government employees, civil servants. Taxes should be paid so that salaries, people should continue getting paid. They should continue getting their salaries. You go to the hospital, Alice, you find there's an availability of medicines. Okay? You are not given a prescription. It makes you happy, doesn't it?
Very much.
It makes you happy to say, oh, this is what is happening now, because in the past I would be given a prescription. All that is as a result of paying taxes. Taxes help build nations. Taxes help boost the economy. Okay? We always complain, the economy. What are you doing? You who's in receipt of income. Are you contributing? Are you paying tax? So, ifunika tizifunse bonse. Okay, we need to ask ourselves. Yeah, we need to ask ourselves, including you, Alice. Ask yourself, say, that side business that I've ventured into, I've heard today that I need to pay tax, even if I have a salary and pay as you earn is being deducted from my. You need to pay that tax. Why? Because you have to see this country develop. Let us not see potholes on the roads. Yeah, we've got in rural areas where you find that a bridge collapsed. This town has been cut off from the main, maybe CBD. You see, so taxes build nations. That bridge must be built. It should not collapse, because when taxes are available, when revenue is available to help the government provide services, to help the government to ensure that provision of goods is done the way that is supposed to be done, or services are readily available in hospitals, schools, in desks are available in schools. It is as a result of paying tax. So we should pay tax so that we see the development that we want to see in this country. We always complain, this country, no, this, when I went to hospital, I was given a prescription. You have a business that you are running. What are you doing? Are you paying the tax? Are you making correct declarations? Because you see, paying tax we can pay, but make correct declarations. Okay? Make correct declarations and pay the correct tax. Yes. If you want to see this country move forward, all of us need to come on board. All of us have to pay that fair share of tax. As long as you're in receipt of income, you're in employment, yes, you have a salary, but you ventured into another business, pay your tax. Okay? Pay that tax. You're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for your children's children, for the development and the betterment of this country. We have to love our country. Yes. And ensure that we see that there's so much change that has taken place.
Yes, we can only develop our country.
We need to come to a point where we even stop borrowing.
Yes.
All of us just come on board and pay tax. This country, it will be a different story.
That's true. We can only develop our country by paying tax.
Exactly.
Yes.
Ourselves. Nobody else will develop this country apart from ourselves.
We've seen a situation, sometimes we don't even know where it comes from, but now we understand. Here is a case, kudala tenzo pita mudasti manja patika chukachabe munyumba tisistepinga muri olotenda kuchechi nsapato sizimbua. It is because we are paying tax and we need to pay our tax. Yes. What happens if one does not register on time?
If you do not register on time, there are consequences. Okay? You will not, you may think you're going to get away with it, but then it will be costly for you. At one point, as you are carrying out your business activities. Okay? So the moment you register with PACRA, you legalize your business. You register at PACRA, and then you start your business activities, or you start trading. Business transactions are going on, or they've commenced. You have to come and register. Okay? You may have a Tpin, quite all right, and then you register at PACRA, you legalize your business, but then you don't even come to ZI maybe to even add that trading name to your Tpin, and even no tax type. But you are busy making money, you are earning that the income from your sales, the result of you venturing into that business. You have to ensure that you register on time. If you do not register on time, like I said, you are conducting business, and then you are found wanting. You are found that, for all this time you are conducting business, you are receiving income, and you are not paying your tax. A forced registration will be done on your Tpin, okay, for the applicable tax type, depending on the business activity that you are doing. And then you find that why I said it will be costly, because we will backdate. Say we are in this is May. You started your business maybe in in June last year. We've got tools that we'll use to arrive at that.
Okay.
You'll give us your invoices. If you hide them, we know how we are going to find out that you were actually trading. But then you have not been paying your tax or you're not registered. Okay, so if you are found to be such a one, it will be costly for you. Okay, that's why I said there are consequences. Because once we backdate, say to June last year, and then we even add the tax type, you'll be forced to pay tax starting from the time that you started doing business and earning income. And so you see, it will be costly for you. You have to pay that tax, and then unfortunately there will be penalties. You'll be penalized for even late registration, and also you'll be required to submit those returns. And so there will be those penalties for late submission of the returns. So let's ensure that tikayamba business olakutis tinachite legalize business ya tukupaka. As long as Tpin mulinayo, you can add a tax type. Okay, but the best way to do it is just to come up with a business and just legalize it. But even when you do not have a business registered at PACRA, you still have to ensure that you add a tax type to the Tpin or to your profile and pay the tax. Yes. So you have to be, for lack of a better term, to be truthful to yourself and to these regulatory authorities. Yes. Because you need to know that at one point or the other, the law will catch up with you, and it will be costly. Yeah. So it is just best that and good that you register on time and just do the right thing. Yeah. Once you're registered, just ensure that you meet your obligations. You're paying your taxes, you make correct declarations, and you're filing your return. You find that you will have a very smooth and good relationship with Zambia Revenue Authority. Yeah.
What is a return?
A return is it's a legal binding declaration, okay, where you just declare the income that you earned in that particular period, and also you're declaring the tax that is supposed to be paid. Okay, so I'll give an example. For example, turnover tax. Turnover tax is charged on the gross earnings a month. Okay, so you submit a return on a monthly basis if you're registered for turnover tax. So a return in simple language, we can say it's a report where you're just simply communicating with Zambia Revenue Authority to say, this month I have made so much. I venture into this business, be it wholesale and retail trade. I am declaring so much, and then the tax is calculated. Because the way the return is designed is that it has an embedded calculator. So the moment you push in the taxable amount for your gross earnings, then the tax will be calculated. Yeah. So even in a period or in a month where you probably business was not so well, was not so good, you did not have any income at all, you have to still communicate with ZRA by still filing in that return. Okay, you are reporting to ZRA to say, oh, this month I made zero, and so zero tax is going to be paid, or I'm not paying anything because I did not earn any income. And the due dates, depending on the tax types, they differ. For turnover tax, you've got 14 days in which to submit your return and you pay your taxes. Okay? So like I said, it's very easy to comply. Yeah, very easy to be compliant, because all you need to do is just know the type of tax that you're registered on, what are you supposed to do, what is the due date, that's it. So you file in your return within that period. Avoid filing it on the deadline. So like for turnover tax, it's on the 14th. Okay. So you got 14 days to file that return. Okay. So a return is a report. Communicate with Zambia Revenue Authority. Do not just stay away. So okay, this month I didn't have any earnings, or I have registered for taxes, but I have not started trading. The moment you register for a tax type, you have told ZRA that business has commenced, and so we expect to see those declarations on the system. Yeah, make those declarations. How much income did you earn that month, and how much are you paying? If you don't earn anything, do not just sit back. That could be business ya mapanga your month. Osa lepela kustafa return. Mufunika kuchita return ija so that because muza bazedara say ona bazedara month napange vili vonse so kulibe na tax ya meni zali pia. Yes, because he say if you don't tell us, we will not know. Okay. The only time that we will know is we will say this person has not been filing anything. We'll make a follow-up. We'll ask, is there a problem? Because we do that. Okay, that's the support that we offer to our taxpayers. We'll make calls, or we even do education. We do have education programs where we notice that certain taxpayers in this bracket of tax have not been filing in there. What could be the problem? They are new filers, or they don't file returns at all. They are non-filers, okay? So you need to communicate with Zambia Revenue Authority through a return. It's a report. They are reporting to ZRA. Say, okay, yes, National Register tax type. So this is my report for this month. Yeah, that's what a return is all about.
My due date. When are the due dates?
Okay, so depending on the tax type that you're registered on, each tax type has got its own due date. Okay, so we've got like for pay as you earn and the provisional tax, it's 10th of every month for pay as you earn. By the 10th, you have to submit your return. Use development levy, which is submitted together with the pay as you earn, the same return. It's also 10th of every month. And then for the provisional tax, for those that are registered on income tax, okay, the turnover tax is also an income tax, but there's what we call company tax or the corporate tax. If you are registered on such a tax type, income tax, you have to make your estimates, or you project you make projections at the beginning of the year. Okay, so that provisional tax that will sit on your return, it has to be paid quarterly. So the deadline for the payment of the provisional tax is on the 10th at the end of each quarter. Yeah. And then for VAT, for the agents, the withholding VAT agents, it's 16th. And then for the suppliers, VAT, it's 18th. Yeah. And then we've got also for mineral royalty, it's same 14th, turnover tax, tourism levy, and then for the insurance premium levy, it's on the 16th. No, it's on the 18th together with VAT. Yeah, insurance premium levy and VAT, it's on the 18th. Okay. Yeah. So those are some of the due dates that the due dates for some of the taxes. So we need to ensure that we avoid penalties. See, penalties are avoidable. And for us as ZRA, we don't even like talking about penalties because they can be avoided. Penalties are a cost to a business. Yes. So please ensure that for the tax type that you're registered on, you should know when the deadline is. Yeah. So imagine, like for turnover tax, you've got 14 days to file the return. 14 days. Yeah. So the 14th day is the last day. That is for turnover tax, tourism levy, mineral royalty, withholding tax, rental income tax. That's the deadline, 14th. So you've got 14th day. And the return has to be submitted like for May. It's the following month, June. So you've got from the 1st, the 14th of June to file the return. So you see, it's very easy to comply. Yeah, it is very easy to comply and to avoid penalties. Because penalties, they are an unnecessary cost to the business. Yeah.
You've actually explained on what will happen when I pay late, or maybe I do not file a return.
Yeah, you'll be penalized.
Well, thank you so much, Madam Anastasia, for sharing with us on this important topic, which is Tpin registration. I believe the viewers out there have actually learned a lot, and personally, myself as Alice, I've learned something about the Tpin registration. It's been a pleasure having you on TaxPayer. madam.
Thank you so much, Alice. Thank you, viewers.
That was Madam Anastasia Tikaka from Zambia Revenue Authority, teaching us, educating us on the importance of Tpin registration. It is important that we know these things. This has been Tax Chat, and I've been your host, Alice Lungu. Don't forget to join us again next time as we bring to you another exciting topic. Remember, it's my tax, your tax, our destiny.
Today, you probably helped save a life. Or perhaps helped keep a watchful eye on a neighborhood. Today, you probably helped put food on someone's table. Or help build a road that leads to a destiny. You may have even helped shape the minds of our future. By paying your taxes, you help keep critical medical staff in a job, a school to run, or a neighborhood safe, and a whole lot more. Your taxes help Zambia become better for you and me. Zambia Revenue Authority. My tax, your tax, our destiny.